It has been the longest off-season of SRA. The rust has been wiped off and the cars are revved up and ready to go. Welcome to SRA.
We're off and away for SRA.
Now.
Welcome everybody and good evening. Welcome to SRA D4 stream. Of course, joining me as always is Mr. Rafael Astolfo, and we're here this week at actually in the Eifel Mountains of Germany at the Nürburgring GP circuit for yet another hour sprint race, coming off a win by Mr. Eduardo Rodriguez last week at Donington. After capitalizing on a few mistakes by other drivers, pulled out a nice win and a nice boost for his team. This week, a whole new set of challenges as we arrive at Nürburgring. And Raph, why don't you tell us about some of that?
Oh, so again, well, appreciate the intro, Adam. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining in here tonight in our Tuesday evening. But here, yeah, we took our plane, flew right over from Donington over here to Nürburgring, and you might not be familiar with the track. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Nürburgring, especially with the Nordschleife section of that, one of the craziest tracks in the planet. However, we're not there. We're just on our Grand Prix edition version of it, and we don't want to take too much of you guys' time. Let's switch over to our track map so you guys get a little bit of a glimpse if you're not too familiar with how the track looks. A couple of interesting turns here at Nürburgring. As you can see here, track is just over 5 kilometers long. It's got about 3.2 miles. It does have 15 turns. We got a very technical first sector there. You can see through the maps under the red lines. You get that turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got to make sure you nail that, especially the exit out of number 4 to get the most speed out of that, and that leads you to number 5, which goes to sector 2. You get a, well, let's say not too slow of a turn 6 there, but that does lead you to the hairpin down there in turn number 7. Leads up to turn 8 and 9, which is the Schumacher S. So a pretty long sector 2. Pretty much a 90-degree left-hander turn 10, and then turn 11 that leads you to sector 3, which is the fastest around the track, which does leave you that chicane, which is turns 13, 14. That will take you turn 15 and a lap overall around here at Nürburgring. So it is one of the tracks we see being used, I mean, gets raced on here at ACC quite often, so drivers are quite familiar with it. But before I go take you guys over to our race, I'll switch over to our driver standings, give you guys an update on what the current standings are here at our Division 4. So let's take a quick look. And
a bit of a shake-ups in the last couple of weeks. Last week especially was definitely mixed up the standings a little bit. So we have a whole new championship look for you as we go into the standings here.
Yes, absolutely. Now, one of the things that have not been officially updated here on this standings that you see is there were a couple of penalties, and also there will be a drop round implemented very soon. But just to give you guys an idea again as how standings currently are, you see Selina Boomstra leading the D4 here, Comic Racing, Lunar Motorsports with 224 points. Sweeney, THR Boot, just 3 points behind, followed by White Scarver with 209, so just about 15 points. And we'll have a more updated standings for you guys next week once all those drop rounds are applied. And take a quick look just again towards the back of the field here at Division 4. And again, a couple of drivers have not put in a lap, an event here with us. So you might see somebody that's, for instance, William Brown with 0. Now, moving over to our team standings, we have a little bit of a switch there at the top. We have Comic Racing, Lunar Motorsports with Jess Osborne and Selina Boomstra. They have taken the lead, 386 points for now. And THR Boot with Andrew Berg and Chris Sweeney with 359 points, 27 points behind. And Red Eye X-Blend E-Racing with Jitesh Kadavakar and Austin Whites-Carver 317 points. And things will be changing again once we head on to Misano next week. But just to give you guys an idea on where we are currently standing as far as drivers go. So let's not take too much long and let's move over to our race, folks. Drivers will be going out to their outlap very soon, 20-minute. And we will be going to a 20-minute qualifying as we normally go. And it will be the first 10 minutes. That will be the silver drivers. D4 Silver will put their laps in. And the last 10 minutes on afterwards will be the gold drivers. And they're just finishing up their laps here. We do see driver number 225. I'm trying to figure out who is out on the track at the moment. Looks like Enemy Friday. And once he crosses that line, we should move over to our qualifying officially, folks. There we go. And silver drivers, again, it's a 20-minute qualifying session for, 10-minute for both gold and silver. So there's about a minute buffer, so to speak, to get the silver drivers ready on the line. Once they get ready on the line, that counter hits 20-minute marker. They will be heading out on the track. I'll go ahead and switch the camera over to one of the drivers on the silver division. And once they get things going, you can see a little bit of a traffic jam going on there at the exit. Thankfully, here in our virtual racing world, we don't have an issue where we'll be hitting each other in the pits, so it's nice. So they're just kind of getting there together. A couple of cars you see, they're kind of on top of each other on the right-hand side. They're still on the pit. Some benefits from virtual racing. So just about 5 seconds to go, and we'll see who's going to be leading us out on the front. I know Space Baker, their car number 992 is who we are following in second on his McLaren. And it looks like car number 1 up front. And I'm trying to hunt him down here on my list. And Mr. Let's see if I can get a focus on him. Looks like Mr. Lee. There we go. I got him. All right, back here, still we're following Mr. Lee. He's just going around the hairpin as he's going to be the first silver driver to get his lap started. And just checking on the chat, we got a couple of folks joining in here. We have Mr. Edix D4 Hype. We have Mr. Andrew Berg actually, he's on the race tonight, but he's not just his turn just yet to go out, so he's on our chat. We have Dre's Box. Shout out to the Podium Hunters. Can you explain why the silver drivers moved to gold and vice versa? And Jess here's taking part on the race, also replying. But yeah, so after 3 rounds here at SRA, what happens is there we have maybe a few drivers more not correctly placed on their divisions, maybe divisions or within gold and silver within their divisions. So a couple of things happen. They might be shuffling them around, so you can see the change happened. So yes, looks like Jess and Selena were moved to gold because we are overpowered. So sure, Jess, we'll see how you do tonight here, but we'll give you a little bit of follow through as we get along. But And we're going to go ahead and switch the camera away from Lee. Unfortunately, he has invalidated his current lap. Field of drivers that are out on, we have Mr. Spacebaker on his McLaren. He should be the first driver to put a valid lap through. And we should start seeing those times on your left-hand side populating. Let's go ahead and let's do a little bit of a ride here with Spacebaker on his interior McLaren. Just give you guys a little bit of a cockpit view of what you see going on the track. He's going to be going through the chicane there on Sector 3. Got to be really careful here on the bumps. Make sure you don't see those mini sausages on your left and right-hand side. You can easily go wide into the grass you saw there on your left-hand side. Hugs that corner on the inside. The first driver putting a lap through, so gets a 156.632, but Watts directly behind him. Just puts a great lap on his AMG and takes the provisionary pole, 156.312. As drivers, you see them coming through. We have a couple of drivers already putting their laps in. We have Daniels now in P3, and Adams crossing the line on his Porsche takes that provisionary pole with a heck of a lap here as a 55.130. Quite lower compared to everybody else here so far for their lap one. That's a whole second. So Adams putting him some good practice here in Nürburgring. We'll see what he can do for the next 2 laps or so. Maybe dropping that into under a 55. And here's driver to him. We have Poe. So Maxi Poe takes that second spot for now. Just about a half a second still behind Adams. But Adams with a heck of a first lap that was able to really nail that through. And got somebody out off the track. Wicks D6 right now with a little bit of a yellow situation going on. He's going to be trying again soon.
He's just adding more camouflage to his car.
Look at that Porsche. It looks really nice. Very nice. Look, let's get a little bit of a close-up view.
I don't see anything. It's just tires.
Just kind of even the tire color blends in perfectly with that whole car. It's a really nice looking livery. And I'm going to switch the camera over to Adams here one more time as his Delta is not able to improve at the moment. He's about 200ths of a second slower than his first lap, so I'm sure he's going to go for another lap and try to improve that. His first lap was extremely quick. And only Poe there with a P2 able to challenge him to a certain extent. And Poe is improving, by the way. We're going to switch the camera over to him. Maybe not enough if he's able to nail this Sector 3. Not enough to get pole, but pretty close. Goes around the last turn here, Poe. Comes down full speed and should be maybe a pole or not. Very close. Oof. Oh my goodness. Almost the same time. He pulls in a 55.177. Adams with a 55.130 for the pole. So close enough. He's going to go for another lap, but Adams is on a mission. Is trying to improve that first lap of his. Switching over to a few other drivers on track. We have Payan here at P3. All drivers currently improving their deltas. Adams just set that pole lap basically right off the bat. And
Yeah,
nobody's been able to touch. Yep.
See a couple drivers yet to come out. I think there's potential here for a 54. We're really close with Adams' lap of 55, and I know a few drivers were mentioning touching the 54s in their practice throughout the week. So I think we still have a chance of maybe seeing 54 out of some of these gold drivers.
Yes, absolutely. We saw, especially yesterday during their practice race, we saw a couple of very quick times during qualifying. Now, one thing to mention, and we have Jess pointing out here on the chat, is that Poe, he's actually a Go driver, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he was a silver. Maybe he was, and he just got, basically promoted to the Go drivers, and he actually went out there to put a lap. So I'm sure he didn't mean it, obviously, to do that, as you get a better maybe a little bit more rubber on track in the last 10 minutes, but he is actually getting his qualifying session out of the way here on the first 10 minutes. So we shouldn't see him on the track on the last 10 minutes. Now he is currently holding that P2, although his lap now is a little bit, it's quite a little bit slow. He had a mistake he did earlier, but Adams just has been able to keep that up, and nobody has touched the pole lap since this qualifying started. He's got that P1 and nobody's touched it. Working down the list, we have Friday coming through with a nice lap. Currently P10, moves up 2 spots. P8 for Adam, for Friday. We have Rose coming through with a heck of a lap here. He's got a huge improvement. He's got about 2 seconds to catch up to the leaders, but this should net him maybe a position or 2 here. P7, excuse me, position or 2, more like 10 positions. So he gets a good lap in. Justin Rose, great lap from him as we're nearing the ending of qualifying for silvers here at D4. And I'll go ahead and focus on a few other drivers on track. We have Morrison. He's currently in P13, having a decent lap improvement as well. You got Hacksaw coming through as well. We have Rodriguez. Now, this is Roger Rodriguez. Remember, last week our race winner was Eduardo Rodriguez. Now, Roger is a D4 silver driver. Eduardo is a gold driver, and we should see him on track in just a few minutes. We have Aiden Grover here currently in P18. And Ryan Boissonnaud, he's currently at P20, but improving his lap quite a bit here towards the end of the qualifying.
So follow him. Our gold drivers are rolling out of the course.
And switching back here to Poe. He's really trying to get that pole at the end. Again, gold driver trying to get that pole and might actually take him over Adams. So yes, he does. He does a 55.062 right there on his last lap. As that finishes qualifying for a pole. And now Go drivers will be going out on the field. And leading that pack looks like, let's see if I can narrow down here. It looks like it was actually, he's made a mistake at the hairpin. It was car number 801 from the looks of it. And it might be Ruzik 804. Now, leading that pack, looks like it's Mr. Rodriguez. He should be the first driver on his out lap. He's going to try to capitalize maybe another win here in Nürburgring. A great race from him last week. Now, taking a look at the drivers here, and maybe I'm correct if I'm wrong, but I do not see Big Daddy here tonight. And at least down the list, So Maxwell is back at a great round 2 there, a battle with Wagner towards the end. So he's back tonight on his Ferrari. And a couple of, again, silver to gold moves. And now we have Sweeney there on P38. At the moment, no lap for him just yet, of course. That's provisionary. So he's now one of the gold drivers. We have Mr. Berg out on the track as well. We have Wagner on the field, a couple of McLarens going through. We have Potvin on his Porsche. We've got to do a couple of yellows there on track, and that is because everybody's slowing down to get a good lap start after that chicane. So you just kind of hit the brakes, become a little bit of a train there at the end, but they should be opening up very soon. White Scarver on his BMW. Following him around here. On Sector 1 again. Very technical here, and this is where I make most of my mistakes. I just want to push the car so hard, and it's just such a slow sector, and I just think the car has more grip than it should. And I end up going a little wide here and there, hit the bumps, the curbs, excuse me. And it's just more of my Formula 1 mentality, which you can kind of slingshot your way around those turns, and not the same here with GTs. One day I'll get used to it. There's Mr. Osborne himself on his Porsche. Currently leading the team championship along with Selena. It looks like he might be having some connectivity issues, at least from my point of view. You see he has got a little red bar on the left-hand side there on your standings. We'll check in with Jess later on, but it does seem a little robotic on track. But he's the only driver with that issue at the moment. And switching over to Mr. Dudley Do-Right, and he was having a great race there at Donington. And I hate to point this out, Dudley, but yes, he had unfortunate events happen to you down a couple of drive-thrus and took you way down the standings. But, you know, he's back here at Nürburgring ready for a vengeance.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen solid pace from him every single week. Just little mishaps get in the way, but I still think we'll see yet another win out of him yet, because he's been absolutely rapid in that McLaren week in and week out.
And again, I do not see Big Daddy here tonight, which has been extremely quick. And I didn't see any division of changes for him. But, yeah, I mean, if a couple of drivers were maybe saying, oh, man, there's no way I can beat Big Daddy tonight, well, you got a little bit of a free pass going on here. But we know other drivers. Obviously, we have Berg, who has been extremely quick. Wagner, race winner, round 2. Maxwell, who's missed last week, is extremely quick. He's currently holding that P8, by the way. He's coming through with his Ferrari. Not many Ferraris, by the way. As a matter of fact, only 2, himself and Rufus. 2 Ferraris, 296 on our Division 4 race tonight. And currently in P3, we have Andrew Berg. He's put in a great first lap, and he's got a pretty good improvement going on at the moment. Maybe looking for that pole lap. And Poe, excuse me, that's Poe, not Pole. He is currently P1. Berg improving on his second lap. We have a couple other drivers. Every driver actually improving here as they get their tires warmed up and their PSI in range. Peter Reynolds coming to the last chicane. Absolutely murders it. Goes deep on the last turn. And very close to a pole here. As Rodriguez, by the way, put that pole, but keep an eye on Reynolds. And P4 of Reynolds, so not able to take, because Rodriguez's lap was just extremely good. As we could just switched over to Andrew Berg, who's, by the way, is on a heck of a lap coming through. Might be a pole as he's coming through with a lap. He's currently P5, by the way. He gets a great exit of a last turn, and based on the current delta, should have might up to P1. So Berg was had the best of luck on a few races. Now currently with that lead.
Following through T1, the beginning portion of the track is a bit technical. You definitely can't be too eager on the throttle or too late on the brakes, so you definitely hear your time here. It's a little easier Sector 2 and Sector 3, but you definitely have to nail Sector 1 if you want to have competitive times here. Down to first through there, second to third onto this corner, hit fourth before you run down. Make the run down to the hairpin here. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there. Gathers it up.
Looks like he caught it. Was able to keep it on track.
Caught it. Lost the time advantage he had, but still showing about even for the lap. So there's still time that could be gained here. Again, Berg on provisional pole with the last lap, 54.7. See if he can improve on that. So far, we don't see any other times that are going to challenge this just yet.
We're just double checking here on the chat. We have Sadat was taking place on the race tonight. He's had not the greatest qualifying performance, but you know, if you do quite well on the race, you can move those spots, so no need to worry. There's a little minor correction there from Andrew. Right there towards the end. He's able to, you know, he can do better than that. Quite a few mistakes. It's virtually the same lap time, so he's going to go for it again.
He's got one more shot at it. See if he can improve.
I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera over to Rodriguez, by the way, really quick, so you guys can take a look at his Porsche. He is improving quite a bit. Well, actually, just about even, but probably the only driver at the moment looking at challenges as well. Excuse me, actually Do-Right Dudley P9 now with a heck of a lap going on as well. We'll switch back up to him in just as we follow along here. Rodriguez will switch back over to Dudley and follow his lap through. Might give him a pole. Oh,
yeah, for reference, he's currently 6.5 tenths up. Do-Right is on his lap, which the previous lap was a 55.2. So if he can maintain that, that would be provisionally pole for him, depending on what Berg can do this lap too.
And Wagner has taken pole, by the way, throwing a heck of a lap. We're not following him through.
Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon. Our race to winner
Beats Berg
sends it to
by just 400ths. That's a 54.7 flat compared to 54.74 for Berg.
Rodriguez has officially abandoned his lap, by the way. He had a mistake. He's going to go for one more time, but we have Dudley absolutely flying.
Up to 7 tenths up on his lap now, so he may take this pole handily if he can keep this going.
My goodness.
Oh, that's going to be close.
No, he's
Not sure if he had an off there.
Nope, he's clear. That should be that's a heck of a lap coming through. Almost a second improvement. So look at that. 54.330 by Dudley. You know, he is not messing around.
Mr. Do-Right is in the building.
Yeah, he's in. He absolutely killed that chicane at the end. So what a lap from him.
We'll see Rodriguez currently up on his lap. We'll see if maybe he can jump position over Berg. No,
he made a mistake. He's pushed a little too hard there on the turn, ended up spinning, and into the pit he goes. Now, who's out on track still? Wagner, although he's not close to Dudley's lap. My goodness, what a lap from Dudley there. He sent his McLaren there at the end, said it is, if I don't send it here, I'm not going to take this pole, so he did. And what looks like Wagner will be improving his time, might not be enough for that pole. Try to open himself.
2 tenths from Wagner currently. He needs about 5 to catch Dudley.
And last driver on track, we have Mr. Potvin. He does have an improvement. He might be up from P38 to P36. And crosses the line. Actually, excuse me, a couple other drivers still on track, does not improve on their deltas. We're going to switch over to P11. Cockcroft, he's had a pretty decent lap going on, but might have lost a little bit of time here towards Sector 3. See if he's able to make this up around that chicane.
What I'm seeing, the Porsches are pretty quick this week, but man, do they seem unstable if you get too much curb.
You see them bounce all over the place.
Absolutely.
Cockcroft abandons that lap, and White-Scarver also goes wide. Reynolds stops there at the front, so it looks like we're good. I mean, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for today, guys. Qualifying, Do-Right Dudley with that absolute monster of a lap sends it to P1, 54.330. What a lap from him. And not too far back again, P2. And we're going to switch this over to our race view in just a second. There we go. And we're going to go through our couple of liveries as we normally do, folks, and just kind of do a little bit of a walk on track. Here we go. Let's switch the car over to Mr. Do-Right at the front. There we go. Now we can step out from his car and just kind of go a little bit of a grid walk. Right down the center, folks. Here we go. Do-Right Dudley with that pole. Heck of a lap there towards the end. Wagner, race winner, round 2. P2. We have Berg there on your left. And Rodriguez there up on top, P4. Mr. Poe on your left. And we have LaFlamme. Great lap from him. We have Adams. Reynolds, Gino, Boomstra putting her Porsche up there. Cockcroft, White-Scarver. Andrew, Morrison, Osborne. Maxwell there on your right. You have Sadat, who spoke to on the chat. He didn't have his best qualifying. We should be hoping to see his car move up. We'll keep an eye on Sadat. We have Ruzik, Swinney, Daniels, Hacksaw. We have Harold, Walkowicz, Payan, Watts, Rose, Spacemaker, Boysonaut. Friday, Master, Q Master, Rodriguez, Rufus, Otero, Katavakar, Wicks, Potvin, right there towards the end, moved 2 spots. We have Herrera, Grover, and whoa, towards the end there, my camera moved. Excuse me. And we have Mr. Lee there towards the back. And one thing to point out here tonight, folks, the race does, as you can see there on the top left, top center, it's 7 o'clock, 7:01, so it is pretty much towards the evening. And one thing that you might see affecting drivers here at certain parts of the track, that sun is aiming right on their windshield. And, like I said, whether you decide to do a cockpit cam or you go through a hood cam, that will affect, your drive line. And of course, you got to look for your brake markers. So that could actually play into maybe, hopefully not, but maybe driver's mistakes. Hopefully everything goes okay for the drives. And by 8 o'clock, it should be quite dark, or not extremely dark, but quite a bit on the darker than what we see here tonight. So switching over to our helicam, you can see there that haze. You can see the sun just coming right down from your right-hand side. Mr. Dudley leading the pack, folks. And you can see there in picture we have our, ready to go signal. Once that thing turns green, it's go time for us here at Nürburgring. 1 lap, basically, of getting your tires warmed up just a bit. And then on we go. So what a lap from Dudley. Adam, that was just, oof. He just
blistering. I expected speed, but that was just next level.
He just, I saw his delta increase by 200ths of a second after the chicane. So he just absolutely sent it and just made up that time. And we know he's quick, so he just didn't have the greatest of luck in Donington,
But you know what the question is now? I'd almost be scared to be where he is, because you're at the front of the field going into a hairpin turn 1. So things could get interesting for the lead cars here, much like they did at Coda. We'll see what happens.
Oh boy, hopefully not. We're gonna knock on some wood here on my end. Everything goes okay on turn 1. The fact that sector 1 is so technical, it's so slow. Again, that I'm guilty of this. I just kind of want to push my car more than what it can actually do. No grip, and things end up happening. I find that taking a wide line on the outside seems to be, at least on my experience, has always been a little bit safer, as long as somebody doesn't come completely like a bowling ball on the inside. So,
yeah, which could happen. You never know.
Somebody completely forgets their brake works and just go right.
I feel
to
like
the field.
we've all had that experience at some point.
We sure have. Yeah, at one point, especially here at Nürburgring, experienced that firsthand.
Man, kudos to the admins for setting up this time of day. What a gorgeous track at sunset like this.
It does. It looks, and again, certain parts of the track here, as Dudley's leading the pack, you don't see the sun, but then as he's coming around this turn, start of sector number 3, basically, you can see out here the sun hits you right in the face, at least for a couple of laps here at the start.
And the other thing I wonder if it might affect is the track dynamics. These areas of track, they're pretty big areas too. You see right through both of those turns there's no sun on the track, and that technically should mean that the track's going to cool off in those areas. So you might see some parts of the track are a little slick with the sun, and then some parts you might run into some understeer. We'll see how that affects them going into the start of the race here.
And as far as I know, ACC does model that quite well as far as track and overall. You just see there on the top right-hand corner, track temperature listed at 23 Celsius. So it's quite cold. Now, it is an hour-long race, and maybe by 8 p.m. that could also drop quite a bit, especially when the sun goes down entirely and it's no longer in the horizon. You no longer see the sun rays. That could, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That could very well affect the course of the race too, depending on how everyone has their pressures set. Cooler the track gets, the lower your pressures are going to be. So we'll see if they've prepared for that. And maybe we'll see some people charge in late as they come around the final turn here, headed to the start line. We'll keep an eye on the lights.
Soon, green folks, soon the start of D4 here at Nürburgring. Let's go.
Green lights are on, and they are away for 1 hour at Nürburgring GP.
And looks like Dudley made a huge mistake there and dropped almost 3 positions trying to send it. Very slow there through the turn. As looks like Wagner challenging for that first spot, so my goodness.
And he's going to claim it.
And for the meantime, he does, and looks like they're in P3, excuse me. Now we have Berg. And Dudley just had a terrible start, was able to hold on to it. He almost dropped to P4. As they're going through on that first, just starting sector 2 here, leading down to the hairpin. So Wagner leading the pack, and Dudley not too far back. Berg with that P3, and Poe has actually taken the position from Rodriguez. So Poe in P4, Rodriguez P5. Gino also making a move. Looks like Boomstra lost a few spots. We got a couple of yellows back there. It looks like Reynolds and Q-Master. And yep, and also Otero. So a couple of drivers back there leading to the hairpin. Maybe a few mistakes back there, but looks like they're getting back on track. So
looks like also the BMW of Katavkar involved as well.
At least this happened on lap 1. If there are any issues, pit window is open. And they will be heading in to get some repairs if needed. So Wagner wasted no time there. It looked like Dudley fell asleep at the start, and Wagner said, well, if you're not going to go for it, I'll take the outside line all the way through the end of sector 1 almost. And coming down with that lead here on the end of lap 1. Does have Do-Right, Bergen, and Poe not too far back. So everybody's still pretty much bunched up together, folks. Train is very long, as you can see on your map on your right-hand side of your screen. Just taking a quick look at the chat, we do have a couple of guys. We have Nacho, which takes place in our D6 here at SRA, rooting for a few drivers here at D4. And we have Speed Fanatismo. Grid walk is really cool. I appreciate it. We try to get you guys some something to look for while we're just waiting for the drivers to get their setups and cars ready. So appreciate that comment. And yes, top 10, 7 McLarens and 3 basically Porsches, yes, to start with. And then now Maxwell with his Ferrari is able to get his car in basically. It's P8 currently, so moved up a few spots. And we know Maxwell is pretty quick, he just didn't have his best qualifying session. And it looks like the group of there, like about top 5, kind of opening up. And we're going to go on a little ride along here with Do-Ride, Mr. Dudley. On his McLaren, following Wagner not too far ahead. As you can see there, as Dudley made that left-hander, the sun right on his face. And none of these drivers decided to pit just yet. You can see most of them. If you look down at the standings as far as who has pit and who has not, we just have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. Oh, excuse me, 6. So not many drivers decided to pit in at least today. Normally see about a few more drivers getting that out of the way, but they decided not to.
Yeah, definitely an interesting decision. The first couple of weeks, we definitely saw, I'd say probably half the field come in early. There's usually about a 50-50 split of drivers who come early as opposed to coming late. As we see them send it down into turn 1 yet again. The McLaren train rolls on as they head into the arena portion through 3 and 4.
Rodriguez just following everybody up close. They're like, hey, what's up, guys? I got a Porsche. What's up?
Yeah, he's going to have to pick and choose his moments to pass if he wants to try that. You see that Porsche has really good acceleration out of the corners. You see him close right up on Poe out of those corners, but then just McLaren has, once the turbo kicks in, it mid-speed, it just takes off.
We're going to just move up towards the back of the pack here. Let's go through a few folks still on battles. So we have Gino, by the way. He's currently holding that P6 spot on his McLaren, following very closely by Boonstra. And again, Boonstra's moved up 3 spots so far. It started P10, and we know she's extremely quick. We got Osborne. Looks like an owl here from Osborne. Let's take a look at the replay and see exactly what happened with Osborne. Oh, excuse me, guys, and I ended up moving to another driver, so excuse me that on here on my end. Looks like I don't see. I don't look. Do you see Osborne on the track?
I believe Osborne disconnected.
So that's why that replay did not work, folks. So apologize for that. He might be in connection issues. We did see him earlier with a couple of red bars on the qualifying session, so hopefully everything's okay. Nothing major, but let's move over here to Maxwell. No Maxwell, P8, following Boonstra, not too far ahead. We have Sadat, and again, we jumped in our chat earlier. He's didn't have the greatest qualifying, but he's currently P9 from P16, so he's going for it. No, he said, I didn't have a great qualifying session, but you know what? I'm going to make it up on the race.
And you mentioned Maxwell. Maxwell actually up a few spots too. Pretty much has followed Boonstra up through the field to get to that position. I believe he started P10 or P11 after qualifying.
Maxwell was actually P17, so he's moving up a couple of drives.
I'm
Maybe
even
already
more impressed.
Yes, we know he's quick. He's not here to mess around. So maybe some others, just like Sadat, didn't have the greatest qualifying, moving up the field. And
Absolutely.
just moving down, let's go to Andrew here also, opening up a little bit. You have Cockcroft, P12. Ruzik following not too far. Laflamme. And we have Sweeney there on P15. And Walkowicz, P16 on his BMW. Daniels, 17. Watts, P8, excuse me, 19. And we have Grover followed by Rufus, P20, 21. And Lee, who, by the way, is actually P22. He started last, just to give you guys a little bit of a scenario of what's going on. So whether he avoided any incidents ahead of him or not, his car looks okay. Let's get a close up on his car when he comes up to Schumacher S. Yeah, he's basically up 17 spots. He's trying to beat my record. That's usually how I race, from last all the way to some position. So great job from Lee so far. You have Rodriguez, not too far back. Otero, group of BMWs here follow Otero, Katavacar, and Herrera. And then we have Morrison, who's actually, he's already pitted. You can see there on the left-hand side on the standings, the little green bar next to their deltas and times, and obviously the one with the little orange blocks and a number 1 they have yet to pit. So these drivers after Morrison have pretty much already pit. They've so this is going to get a little bit mixed up towards the end once the drivers ahead of them start to pit. So I'll switch over here to the battle for the lead. It's Dudley. He's on a mission there following Wagner for the lead. And the fact that these cars are basically two 720Ss, it's really tough. It really requires a mistake from somebody ahead to take advantage of, because you don't really have, maybe a Porsche should have better exit speed, and then McLaren has better, straight line speed. But these cars are identical. Maybe setups different, obviously, but not much you can do. So
Cue the Jaws theme. Here comes Do Right. Absolutely.
Yep. And again, Berg following really close there for that P3. And just checking on the chat, and we have Sim Racer GT Alvarez. Dave, man, what's going on, man? It's been a long time, man. Everything good here? Just doing some broadcaster with Adam here in SRA. Not sure if you're part of here at SRA, man. You should join up. You'll find a division where you're having some fun, man. It's been super fun in huge fields. I mean, a huge field of drivers here at SRA. So, and we got a new update here from Jess. Oh man, so it says your drop race PC was constantly red ping. Yeah, restart still laggy. Race start with pain. Game crashes. Restart a game no lag, but stuck in pits. Oh man. So yeah, we did see you in qualifying. You were just red, kind of robotic around. We followed you around for a little bit, and we're just wondering what's going on. So, well, at least you got a drop round, so you're good. No worries. You'll be back strong next week at Misano, man. No worries. I'm switching this over right to Gino here as they go to turn 1. An absolute mix. Oh, it looks like a little bit of a close in from Maxwell Adams. Let's take a look at that replay and see exactly what happened. And it looks like a couple of drivers just came together in turn 1. Sadat just went really deep on the inside, but then Maxwell might not have been aware of him. And again, a little bit of a tap there towards the end, unintentional, but oh man. So Maxwell dropped quite a few spots. He has moved up. He's P12 now.
Definitely a little front end damage for that McLaren as well. Or sorry, the Ferrari as well.
Yeah, as he ended up tapping the barriers there towards the end too. So you just see a little bit of a small damage to his front end. You just hate to see it, but we'll see if he's able to bring it home the way it is. It's like, I'm not fixing this. And just directly behind Maxwell, following Laflamme. And we have Sweeney, who's really, really close. We're going to go interior. This battle has been going on for quite a bit. We're going to go interior with Sweeney's McLaren for a little bit. Give you guys a little bit of a car view battle going on as they approach Sector 3, the fastest on the track. Looks like Maxwell there might go a little wide. Saw the sun rays coming directly through the windshield. Laflamme just taps that inside curb. And Sweeney trying to mount for an overtake here at the chicane. Probably decides to back off. And it looks like Maxwell into the pits he goes. Maybe to get that repair out of there. We're going to switch over to... Well, actually, I'll leave this battle going on, but I'll let you guys know an update on Maxwell's pit time. We'll see how long he stands on the pit. Hopefully not too long for those repairs.
Yeah, he didn't hit the barrier at very high speed, so hopefully it's just minor repairs for him. But of course, he's no stranger to coming back through the field after a long pit anyways, having done so after taking tires accidentally several times at this point.
Of course, and I've seen that, unfortunately. Now, Maxwell is in the pits, by the way. He looks like getting that repair out of the way. He's already been there for roughly quite a bit, more than your usual 5 seconds splash and dash.
Now, Sweeney has a way of doing whatever we say after we say it. So should we say he's going to take a dive somewhere and just watch it happen? Or that's the way it's played out the last 2 weeks in a row.
I am not mentioning his name at all.
It's worked out well for him the first week. Last week, not so much. He sent it a little too deep one time and ended up getting into another car and suffering a little bit of a penalty. Let's see if he can come back and atone for his sins this week.
And an update on Maxwell pit. He looks like he decided to get the repair out of the way. 26 seconds on his stall, so maybe not as drivable as we would think it was. So we'll see him drop quite a few spots. And by the way, Walkowick's following pretty close, both Sweeney and Laflamme. So he's just kind of waiting there. Maybe a little bit of a battle going on between the two. And he's trying to make up some make up some positions here, so. And we'll switch over to Andrew as they go to turn 1. Cockcroft on the inside. Andrew trying to hold that off and does have better grip on exit, able to hold on to that P10. Now Cockcroft, again, not far back at all. So this battle has been going on for quite a bit as well. Cockcroft deep on the brakes there, trying to get a better exit speed onto here. This is where the Porsche excels. As you can see, he's trying to get on the inside of Andrew, but just not enough until that turn. He's trying to bait Andrew, maybe on the inside, try to offset him a little bit, but just not able to do it. Andrew just keeps on his racing line and says, not now, not now. Track temperature has dropped 1 degree down to 22 degrees. We started at 23, so just about 15 minutes into the race. In roughly about 10 minutes, we expect to see the sun completely gone. And we'll see how much the temperatures drop. And just switching back here to battle for P21, we do have Roger Rodriguez, followed very close by Otero. Otero trying to make a move on the outside. He goes on the inside. Rodriguez says not here. And Otero just absolute maniac there on the brakes, make sure nothing happens. Oh my goodness. And we take a little bit of wing view here from Rodriguez. We see Otero's BMW very close. Great sun. You can see that sun on the back. Look at that, goes on the inside out. Oh man, it scared me for a second. He goes into the pits. My goodness.
It's probably a smart move. I could see that potentially getting messy.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, he was just like, maybe I'll just let him go so I can focus on a clean line. Maybe, you know, maybe clean air around myself. Don't want anybody behind or ahead of myself, so.
It really is. That's a lot of mental pressure, trying to keep a driver that aggressive behind you. Definitely, it keeps you from looking ahead because you're trying to be defensive, and it makes it so you can't quite hit the marks the way you'd like to, and overall slows you down. So why not get your pit over with and have some clear track?
I am following Pete. 31 currently, Cube Master. He does have Reynolds very close to him as well. One of the closest battles. Who has Maxwell, who's already got his pit out of the way again. He had that incident earlier. And not too far back at Reynolds. A little bit of a train building up here because he does have Wicks ahead of him, and then Rodriguez. So that's where Rodriguez comes out on front. So that's a pretty big train of drive. Oof, look at Reynolds just putting his McLaren on the inside there. And oh, it's like you're the driver ahead. You just see that McLaren getting so close, and you're just like, please don't. And Reynolds trying to move on the inside. He did get better speed, so great move from Reynolds there. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay on that move for a second, see what happened, see how that went. You can see it here following Master. See that McLaren just putting the car on the inside. Master says, I'm backing off. I'll let you through, buddy.
Oh, as we see a mistake from both of them. Master's off track.
As we moved right
Reynolds
back.
off track.
Reynolds, you're right. Master takes the position back. It's like, I'll take it back. Why not?
Yeah, both cars went really wide that corner for some reason. Reynolds went off track, and Master very nearly did.
And Maxwell said, well, I'll take both positions. Why not?
Wow.
Moved right up.
Super aggressive on the braking there from Reynolds. He really wants it back, but I don't think he's going to get it back that way.
And just give you guys an update on the leaders who have been pretty much the same so far. I'll get Wagner here on the field for a bit, and he's currently with that lead. Took it away from Dudley at the start. Let's have about a 2-second gap. Looks like Dudley backed off a little bit, maybe not pushing too hard. For P2, and then we have Berg there in P3 holding on strong. We have Poe following pretty close. P4, and then Rodriguez on his Porsche. That's a P5, and then a little bit of a gap between those folks, and we have Gino followed very close by Boomstra. And we did get notice again, we talked about earlier, and unfortunately, Osborne had an issues with his connection, and that's the team leading the championship, so that's going to hurt them, at least for this round. Again, drop round would be something that you take on for Osborne, but at least provisionary would affect their standings. And switching over to LaFlamme here. Let's go with a little bit of a wing view. And again, Sweeney's still there, absolutely trying to find a way around. And it's a battle of McLarens. So really tough to get things going. And trying to bait LaFlamme on the inside there. And LaFlamme took a little bit of a inside line, said, maybe not here. but Sweeney's
That's one
just
thing you see out of Sweeney quite a bit. He'll show he's not afraid to show the nose and try to get you psyched up a little bit and force a mistake. But so far, LaFlamme's having none of it because he's been pretty consistent this entire race so far. Even though Sweeney's been absolutely all over the back bumper of his McLaren for pretty much the entire race at this point.
Yeah, and LaFlamme had a great qualifying, to be honest. He was actually, remember, up in P6, and he's dropped quite a few spots, maybe involved in a little bit of an incident there. But Sweeney, however, started P19, has moved up to P13. So you can see drivers a similar pace here. And maybe we didn't catch it all the way through, but LaFlamme dropping 6 spots from the start, maybe involved into that incident. And maybe a little bit of a damage, costing him some time, but he's able to keep his McLaren out of Sweeney for the meantime.
He manages to run away for a little while, but Sweeney seems to find his way back to the bumper yet again after a short time. Temporary reprieve.
You know who's following pretty close? Mr. Walkowicz there. Not too far back, just maybe waiting for that battle to materialize something out of it. He will jump up 2 spots. I mean, hopefully everything's okay, and this is where pit can, you know, you got to nail that pit strategy here. Not strategy, but your time in the pits here, especially with ACC, as we know. You can see these drivers driving really close to one another. A little bit, 1 or 2 seconds extra in the pit, that would be, you know, hopefully LaFlamme nails this pit stop, because Sweeney, if he does, and LaFlamme doesn't, you know what, that ends at the end. So that would be a undercut or possibly overcut, depending on the scenario. So.
Looking at the chat, Nacho Donkey mentioning getting moved to gold in D6. I think you'll be okay, bud. You've done pretty good so far this season. I've been keeping track of him. It's been a really good season so far for him. A couple incidents last week. He got murdered a little bit, but I think he'll do just fine. He'll rise to the challenge. We have faith in you, bud.
If you've got moved up a position, you know you're faster than usual.
Yeah, let's jump back to Sweeney. Sweeney alongside LaFlamme now.
A little bit of a tap between the two
here. Finally going to claim that position. Let's see if LaFlamme can answer. Hopefully hold off. He's got to worry about Walkowicz now as well.
Yeah, Walkowicz caught up to that group, and now Sweeney very close on exit at the hairpin as we're going on a little bit of a wing drive with Sweeney. Oh boy, looks like LaFlamme goes wide into the dirt, and Walkowicz takes advantage of that and takes the spot. So LaFlamme just dropped 2 spots in just 1 sector there. And finally, Sweeney must be thinking, hey, I finally made through, and it's basically 25 minutes into the race. So, and here we go. By the way, LaFlamme under attack by Payan still, so dropping maybe another spot. LaFlamme trying to just get himself together. Does have a little bit of a, looks like a little bit of just banging between Sweeney and LaFlamme, a little bit of damage on his McLaren, but nothing major. Payan trying to capitalize on that and possibly take that from him as well.
And we see Andrew, I believe, the first car out of the top 10 to hit the pits.
Andrew, yes, he's now on the pits, currently sitting in P20 as drivers will be driving by now, drops to 21, 22, so quite a few spots he'll be dropping as other drivers go through.
One battle let's maybe highlight is that battle for 6th and 7th position there between Mike Gino and Selena Boonstra. They've been going at it this whole race so far. These two just going back and forth, and see if she can get it done, or maybe we see one of them pit, try to leapfrog the other. We'll see what happens.
Let's do a little bit of a passenger view here on Selena's Porsche for you guys. Get that nice Porsche sound over to you guys' ears.
I do love the sound of the new Porsche. That thing's absolutely mental sounding. It sounds so angry. It's amazing.
It's just constantly angry the whole from 0 RPM all the way through. There is no low pitch on this Porsche. It's just high pitch all the way through.
See, so you viewers need to enjoy it for me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to hear the engine sounds on the broadcast, just so we can actually hear each other and everything else. So one of you enjoy it doubly for me, because I absolutely love hearing that Porsche.
She's been keeping it basically behind Gino the entire race, like or like almost like Swinney and LaFlamme earlier, but she's just keeping it together. Now she does have Adams, by the way, P8 closing not too far back. You can see there on your picture-in-picture. Adams Porsche not too far back behind these two drivers battling for P7. It's really close.
That'll be interesting if they do come together. It'd be a first Porsche on Porsche battle we've seen in a while. I've seen plenty of McLaren versus McLaren in this race. I'd love to see something else.
I mean, so many McLarens on the field. I mean, you can see their top all the way through basically top 10 at the moment. It's basically Porsches and McLarens, everybody. And then we have Wacom XP11. And this could change, obviously, with the pits, but it's just so many drivers with the two cars. And we have Katavacar with a yellow here off track. And that looks like... Let's take a look. I'm going to go back on replay here. And he's gone to the pits. Katavacar, that was not me switching the cameras over to Whitescarver. And he's actually looks like he might have left as well. So maybe a drop around for him next year. We didn't catch exactly what happened on stream, but his car was basically 180 degrees turned. We switch back over to P6 battle between Gino and Boomstra as she's getting really close up to Gino. Gino's just seeing that Porsche just constantly. That's the closest battle we have on the field. We're going to go take a little ride along in a wing cam from Gino for a bit here. You can see that Porsche just closing in and down on the main straight into turn 1. Oh my goodness. Looks like Selena just took a little bit of a grasp, but he might have worked on the outside.
She gets on the inside for turn 2. She's going to get the advantage and pull away going to turn 3. We'll see if Gino has an answer here.
My goodness, she almost got a little bit of a grass and affected her brake marker and just basically sent it on the outside. Wow, what a move.
Not too many times you see a successful pass on the outside of turn 1 there. The inside line's generally a little quicker, but somehow she made that work.
Yeah, she's kept the position, but looks like she's clear for now. Ooh. And Gino getting squiggly a little bit.
Getting sideways, but he's still maintained pace, and he's still pulling back up in the slipstream. Ooh, almost taps the rear end of Boonstra there.
Super
had to get hard
deep
on the brakes and cause a little bit of oversteer. But man, that McLaren is so fast once the turbo kicks in.
And now Gino under attack from Adams, just about a second behind, so he needs to be careful there as well.
It's funny how you can tell there's just the difference in driving style once someone switches from defensive to offensive driving. Just to see how differently they attack corners and braking zones.
Yeah, we do have now Gino's McLaren stuck between two Porsches. You have Adams and Boomstra, and Gino goes wide into the dirt, able to hold it. And that gives Adams a little bit of a chance to catch up. And neither of these drivers, by the way, have yet pitted, so we'll see if they all need to nail that pit. We know that. That's something they need to do. A little bit of a mistake here, a second, you know this can change really quickly.
And just a side note, the Audi of Payant pits from the 13th position.
We have an incident here, Rufus, and we're going to take a quick look and see what happened. If I catch it on replay, looks like Rufus onto the Oof, man, just got a little bit too much on the curb around the chicane, and car just went straight into the wall. So not something you want to see. Unfortunate to see that, but he goes straight into the pits. He has not yet pitted, so which is good for him. At least we'll get that repaired. And we're going to do a little bit of a drive along with Sadat and Sweeney here, switching right on time.
Wow. What an
What
aggressive
is that?
dive under the brakes. He saw him just push a hair wide, enough to fit his car in, and he just sent it in there. And somehow he did push wide. That was a very impressive pass by Sweeney.
My goodness, Sweeney just collecting victims at this point here. They just...
Ooh,
Sadat
big
is
slide
wide.
wide by Sadat there. Like I said, there's the example of that aggression switch just flips once somebody goes by you like that. Then you just start sending it too hard.
Yeah, you know, you might get
Interesting
upset.
just to see. You can see by the way they drive the car how mentally things change.
Yeah, you gotta keep that focus on it. Sadat gets slidey again back there, and yeah, you need to keep that focus. Even if you get if you get overtaken, that's what it is. And sometimes, like Adam said, you just tend to forget and said, I need that position back right now, and you push too hard, and yeah, that's what happens. So,
And we see Mike Gino's gonna take to the pits, probably trying to get away from that pressure that Adams was putting on just before. As we see Rufus come out of the pits after repairs to that Ferrari.
and we are following, by the way, White Scarver, P18, and Cockcroft there. He gets a little bit loose on exit, and looks to be like White Scarver has some damage, at least on his front. It looks like his bumper his hood might be lifted just a little bit there. Now, White Scarver has already pit, so he's not going to be taking any chances in losing all that time if he can bring the zone. 27 minutes and 39 seconds left, folks.
Yeah, 59.7 the previous lap, so definitely seems a little bit off pace, but yet managing to hold off Cockcroft for now. White Scarver up there pretty far in the standings for the individual standings. It's unfortunate to see him having a bit of a bad week here.
Yeah, I don't think that looks like that hood of his not helping much at all. Is he's having trouble just kind of sliding a little bit here. Maybe tire issues at this point. Sun has practically gone down. As you can see, we don't see it around the track anymore. So track temperature still at 22 degrees, and he goes deep there on the hairpin, able to keep it together. But yeah, sun rays are gone. Track's still, I'll say, roughly the same as when it started, but still got 26 minutes left, and we'll see what happens with his track temperatures. Make sure everybody's within that PSI, or you know what happens to your grip. So, and Cockcroft trying to attempt on the outside there, but gets a better exit. He knows he planned that. Looks like he planned on the inside. Are they both going to go down sector 3 at full speed? And White Scarver might have conceded that one, and Cockcroft just sort of planned it, a better exit. Takes the position, moves up to P18 provisionally. And we switch over a little battle for P12, and not too far back here we have Watts. So a little McLaren versus AMG battle brewing up. And following down the path, a couple of drivers towards the back here. Not too back, but P20 we have Payan getting hit on Drew very, very close to his rear end. Give you guys a little bit of a heli view on the main camera, as you can see as they're going through sector 1. And switch back to here, turn 1, we have Wicks and Reynolds very close as well. Looks like Reynolds makes a mistake out of turn 1.
And we see Maxwell just ahead of them, still struggling after that early incident. I know he pitted after that, but maybe didn't take damage repairs, maybe only tires.
No, I don't think so, because tires would have been an additional 30 seconds on his pit, and he's got about a 26-second pit stall. So he had quite a bit of damage to repair, plus fuel, you know, if he added that 1 liter or not. So, I mean, his tires looks to be the same, and it's just unfortunate saw that happen in turn 1. And it looks like maybe he closed the door a little too much, and he didn't expect, I believe it was, maybe it was Sadat that was on the inside, and ended up spinning, so. And we have Do-Ride, who's already gone into his pits. Remember, he was P2 following Wagner for the longest time, so he's got his pit out of the way. He comes back out at provisionary P13. His pit, 8 seconds, folks. So 8 seconds, 38 seconds in the pit. So not what you'd want to see. Maybe he missed that pit stall, or maybe a ignition starter scenario. And that, again, with the battle going on up top between himself, Berg, and Poe, that when those folks pit up front, it's going to be quite close to one another. We're going to keep an eye on that towards the end of the race here, guys.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out for him. Do-Right really needs to get by these 2 cars, Watts and Daniels, ahead of him if he wants to actually take advantage of the being pitting early before Wagner, sorry, and being able to put a little space there. Otherwise, Wagner might just keep putting time on him.
And then Watts almost moved out of the way, said, I don't think I need to deal with Dudley at the moment. He's on a mission here, and just kind of almost moved before the Schumacher S out of the way. Now, he does have to catch up, and you mentioned he does have a couple of drivers, Watts ahead of him, and he's been pacing quite a bit faster than he has, so this is something that happens when you come out in traffic, folks. So this is where, if the guys up top would be aware of what's going on between where Do-Right is, maybe hold on to pit towards the end when everything's sort of kind of organized after pits are done with. So,
and we see Birds to note in the pits. He's dropped back to P10 provisionally. We see Do-Right go by him just now.
They're coming together. And remember, they were about 3 seconds behind each other, and Berg's pit was actually 8 seconds as well, so maybe a little bit of an issue there in the pits for Berg. And because of the traffic that Dudley has encountered, Berg is basically right up on him again, just like he was before. So now both drivers have to make their way through, because this is giving Wagner, who's currently leading, just clean air to drive, and then Poe, who's now P2, and they have yet to pit. And you can see here this train kind of building up, and Daniels ahead of him, like, every right to defend, of course. It is for position, even though he has not yet pitted. So I give it a little bit of a driver's view here on Berg's McLaren. You can see what he's seeing right ahead of him, and you can see there Daniels just kind of taking that inside line on the fence and just slams on the brake at the wrong time. Berg has no choice but to go wide. Just terrible timing for Berg. It looks like Daniels just let Dudley through. He just sped way ahead of him, and now he got stuck behind that. And again, not too far back, we have Watts. Now he has yet to pit, and
Berg out of desperation, constantly flashing Daniels, as Daniels is actually going to dive into the pits. That's going to free up the track in front for Berg.
So, you know, Berg is not happy camper at the moment, as you can see Dudley moved up a good 5 seconds just on that sector, basically, with that little not mistake, but a little bit of a battle going on between the two.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. It wasn't let by with the knowledge that Daniels was going to pit there. I probably would have let the one of the leaders by if I was just going to pit in the next corner anyways. But to each their own. He definitely has as much right to maintain pace and not let him by as anyone else, because that is technically for position at this point.
The driver behind Berg, by the way, if you take a look at his wing view here for a second, that is Watts, and he has yet to pit. So it is for position. However, Berg has paced quite a bit, quite faster than he has in Laflamme. There slapped with a stop and go 30, and it looks like it was some issue at the pits. I did see him at the pits just a few seconds ago. And we'll move up here to P4, by the way. Currently P4, provisional P4, but Boonstra and Adams just battling, going at each other as well. Two Porsches.
This is what I've been waiting for. Porsche v Porsche. Just up the road about 10-11 seconds from them is actually Rodriguez and yet another Porsche.
Yeah, two McLarens with the lead. We have Wagner Poe, and then we have three Porsches, Rodriguez, Boonstra, and Adams.
Three Germans caught in a British sandwich.
Quite a bit too, and you can see there's Sweeney and Sadat McLarens. So it's just the whole group up front, and then Walkowicz, the lone BMW there at the front, so a P8. So taking a look at the chat here while we do a little bit of a drive along with Adams following Boonstra, but let's see here. We have Selena. Yeah, absolutely. She is killing it, man. She is having a great season using controller and all that stuff. It's don't anybody ever give her a wheel, because we're all doomed. If you can do that with a controller, things go to another level. And Alvarez, great catching up with you guys. See you at SRA Community soon. You got it, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, join in, have some fun, get your stuff back in together, man. Take your time, whatever you need, and yeah, man, we're still having some fun here at ACC.
Looks like we got a stop and go penalty for somebody. That might have just been served.
And that was Laflamme, I believe. Yeah, he's currently in the pits. And we did see that kick in right after he left the pit, so maybe, a stop and go 30 must have been really, like, really cooked that entry or exit.
As you see, Boonstra's going to bail out of that battle and head to the pits.
Let's go ahead and switch over to Boonstra here in the pits. Let's see if she's able to nail that sweet 5-second stop. Wagner in the pits, by the way, he is coming right out. It was a 5-second stop, and looks like he is clear. A couple of drivers. He comes next to Walkowicz there. Oh, together they go to turn one. A little bit of a bump between the two, but everything is okay. And Walkowicz still defending. Oh my goodness, a couple of things going on. Laflamme out on the grass, and Walkowicz there is still defending. And Walkowicz has not yet pit, so technically he's okay to defend his position, but we'll give you guys an update on Selena's spit in just a second. And you can see Durag back there, Dudley, a few seconds behind Wagner for the provision, I'd say lead at the moment, 3 seconds. But now Wagner just stuck behind Walkowicz, and he's pacing quite a bit. I mean, he's been the leader for most of the race, so, you know, he needs to clear that BMW ASAP.
Boonstra's going to come out with a 9-second stop, just a hair longer than other cars, but still right in that decent range, under 10 seconds.
And we're going to keep an eye on Adam's spit, she's been battling for most of the race. If he's able to knock in maybe less than 8 seconds, it will be an interesting pit. So we'll see when they come out on turn one here.
For right now, Wagner definitely suffering some of the same issues that Do-Right had when he came out of the pits. Stuck behind a little bit of traffic here. But Walkowicz actually having a pretty good day in his BMW. The sole BMW in the top 15. The only other up in the top 20 is White's Carver down in 18th. White's Carver mounting a little bit of a recovery after some trouble early. But definitely a good day so far from Walkowitz.
Wagner does have the fastest lap off the event, by the way, is a 55.467. And not too far back, we'd have Do-Right with a 55.655. And Adams, by the way, who's been doing really, was 55.585. So Adams, again, with really good pace.
And one note to make, Do-Right just passed Poe for P6. That's the next position behind Wagner, as Wagner finally makes a pass on Walkowitz for 4th position. Now Do-Right's going to have to make his way by if he doesn't pit first.
Well, at least Wagner can breathe a little bit more as he's had clear air for the most of the race. So he does have a blue flag ahead of him to clear soon, but Walkowitz gave him a little bit of a trouble for most of the, let's say about a lap and a half almost.
And Wagner actually racing without a teammate yet again this week. I believe Corey Nesbitt's his teammate, and he had some hardware issues going on with his pedals, I believe, and wasn't able to make the race tonight.
Yes, we do have actual issues in sim racing which are hardware related. It's not just virtual issues, folks. Sometimes our gear just does not work, just like in real life. We have issues. Well, so do we here.
That's going to make them take a bit of a hit in the points. They were already struggling a little bit, but even with a bye week, that's 2 weeks in a row that Nesbitt's been out. So Wagner at this point probably just competing for individual driver standings.
And one of the reasons that you saw, I'm trying to pull this up here for you guys to see, Poe, who was actually behind Berg, remember, during the race, and Poe had a great pit, nailed it 5 seconds in the stall, and that's what caused that position switch. So Berg dropped that position. Basically, at that point, was more like an overcut. He came right ahead of him, but putting some pressure on Dudley there, and then Wagner quite a bit ahead. So. Yeah, I'm switching really quick back over to White's Carver, who hasn't had his best race. He's been doing quite well. This might be, based on the current state of his vehicle and his hood and all that, might be his wraparound. I mean, he's been pretty good the whole season, so hopefully this would be his worst result, as he does have his team. They're currently in P3 for team standings. He does have Andrew pretty close behind him. He's able to keep it together. And just kind of a little bit of a sweep here through the back on the field as well. We'd have Master, Q Master, followed close by Harold. It's about a second differential there, and most of the drivers are kind of on the zone on their own. Maxwell had that issue earlier. He's dropped to P24, so not something you want to see. He started P17, gained so many spots, but then unfortunately his dropped a few spots. He had to repair his car. Complete already have Otero, and then Rufus quite a bit behind there. Bit of big gap between P30 and 31. Rufus there, and then Herrera kind of mixed in with a few drivers up ahead on the standing, getting that blue flag. And we have Friday, and then Spacemaker currently at P34. LaFlamme is in the pits, by the way. He might have retired. A couple of incidents there earlier.
And Walkowitz is going to pit out of, I believe, what was P8 at the time.
Yes, he has dropped down a few spots as he's trying to get that pit. Looks like he nailed it. There's a 5-second pit stop. We'll see, maybe move up a few spots.
Good stop, or good day so far for that Ghost Rider Bavarian rental cars, BMW.
Just under 10. Oh, LaFlamme back there. Looks like he's gone into the wall again, so maybe having issues. Now again,
Straight back to the pits for him as well.
yes, he does. Yeah, and Lee, by the way, he has not yet pit. Boomstra, Selena here just currently, I'd say, being held back at this moment as she's trying to find her way around. Her previous lap was a 56 A95 with Lee as a 58. So again, Lee would have the right to defend, but costing Selena some time here, as she was really, really close to Adams. They're currently in P2, and he has not yet pit. Those are trying to
partner Mike Gino definitely coming into the picture back there too. She doesn't want to see that McLaren again, I guarantee it.
Yes, she was actually behind him for quite a bit. Gino had a 7-second pit stop, Boomster with a 9, but she was able to find a way around eventually. Now Lee just putting his AMG directly in front of both of them, and look at that, going to the chicane here. And Lee still choosing to stay out, so on the inside, almost.
almost catastrophe there for Gino. He was far on the outside in the grass.
Oh man!
On the final turn there.
Yep.
Or after the chicane, rather.
Take a little bit of a wing view here, going to turn 1. Lee just trying to hold on. Oh my goodness, so close there on turn 1, and Gino joining in this fight.
Come on, Selena, show us that super cool outside turn 1 brake move again.
You just need to tap. That's the trick. You need to tap the grass just a bit, get loose, and send it to the outside. That's basically what we saw. So
I feel like it's a good way to flat spot your tires, though.
She's running okay so far. So.
Ooh. See Gino almost getting the back of Boonstra's Porsche there. Really sent it into that corner. Definitely got to be careful there. When you got a car holding up the car in front of you, it's you never really know what's going to happen in the brake zones, and you got to be careful not to run over that middle car.
And give you guys an update there on the battle for, I would say, provisionary lead until all pit stops are done with. Gino goes wide, by the way, but Wagner does have about a 2-second lead over. Excuse me. Yes, 2-second lead over Dudley, who is falling very close by Poe. And then not too far back, Berg, again, lost that spot just on the pits, basically, at the moment. And you can see there Gino just following them close. Let's see if Lee chooses to get into the pits. They got about just under 5 minutes, under 6 minutes to pit. And we'll see if he's get his AMG, and yep, into the pit he goes. He's like, I'm done. I'll let you go.
Probably a big sigh of relief there for Selena, because Mike Gino's all over the back end of that Porsche, and he's definitely starting to do some lunges and seems a little bit desperate to get that 10th spot back. Ooh, as he taps the grass, I'll probably almost could have spun there going into turn 1.
It's almost a Selena move, but he worked for her. Oh, man. Sun has officially gotten behind the horizon. We still got daylight, basically. You can see there, but track temp has dropped down to 21 degrees, ambient at 21 as well.
So what you're saying is it's just dark enough for flashing to be annoying.
Yep, just enough for you to be able to see those headlights coming right through your rear view mirror or the computer screen if you have a McLaren. Maybe not as annoying to the McLaren drivers. Well, switch the back here over to current battle for P5. Again, we have Dudley and Poe, who is on an absolute mission, putting some pressure on Do-Right for that, basically that P4 position at the moment, which will be P2. And just switching the camera a little bit far ahead, you can see there Wagner just following Sadat just, and again, oh my goodness, it looks like a tap there from Wagner on Sadat on the last turn. Sadat keeps it straight, everything is okay, but that Look at what just happened there with the top three, folks. And they all were getting together for this final 5 minutes. Sadat is out of the way. He can still defend. Remember that. Looks like Dudley just sends it. My goodness, and that might give Poe a chance here. We're going to switch the camera back to these guys and see what happens. Oh, a little bit of a tap there between the two. Looks like Poe
into Sadat, but he's going to let off and give the spot back.
And that lets Berg get near everybody on the first. So a battle for the top 4, you would say. And remember, Rodriguez, by the way, was a P5, and he's far ahead, way ahead. We'll see where he comes out. Poe just giving Sadat a flash. Maybe apologizing for the move there. It looks like he might have sent a little too deep, or maybe saying, you haven't pit yet. Out of the way. I mean, and Wagner and Dudley have cleared that, but now Berg just kind of sneaking in for that possible P3 towards the end of the race. So a couple of battles going on. Just seems to be 3 drivers have yet to pit. And remember last week, the one who pit. Oh, before I talk, that looks like Poe clears Sadat, and Sadat just kind of stays back.
Berg's going to come with him.
He is like, I'm not wasting this opportunity. And as I was saying, yeah,
P6.
P6.
Berg up to P5, Poe P4 currently. Rodriguez still holding the lead, has yet to pit.
And the biggest benefactor of the last race was Rodriguez, so don't count him out. He ended up winning that race, and with these couple of brushes between these guys here for the top, we'll see where Rodriguez merges back when he's out of his pits. That's going to be interesting to see. He wasn't too far back from these guys, so.
Yeah, it may all come down to how held up these guys get and how quickly Rodriguez can go in and out of the pits and hopefully not run into any traffic exiting like Do Right and Wagner both ran into. As we look back, the battle between Ruzic and Hacksaw. One of the only Lamborghinis we have in the field. Good to see some representation there.
And someone we haven't spoken to for a while, by the way, Sweeney, who had a couple of moves early in the race. Currently P11. He's actually made up a total of 8 spots so far. And based on pit stops there at the top, he might actually net a P10 towards the end as Watts out of the pits. Oh my goodness, Hacksaw almost just absolutely murdered Ruzic's Lamborghini. Oh, and looks like that might actually benefit Hacksaw, as looks like Ruzic, they came together, and Watts, Hacksaw clears on the outside. He didn't take anybody out there, but just kind of avoided the whole situation.
And very nearly got taken out himself after the avoidance of the turn 1 accident. Because when Watts got sent wide, he almost ran right through him, but was able to swerve at the last second.
It was almost a, he shut the door too hard and didn't expect the car to be on the inside. And they tapped and both end up spinning. Just about a minute left in the race.
And you see Grover and Maxwell having off.
And Rodriguez, by the way, one thing's out on the, he is in the pits. He's actually in the pits, by the way. Leaders on the final lap. Wagner leading the pack with Dudley not too far back at all. So he waits until the last second, but looks like Rodriguez spinning a little too long in the pits, but he's out. Looks like the leaders will be clearing them quite a bit. So the battle for P1 and P3 basically going on quite a bit.
He could have made. It was only 5 seconds, but still not going to be enough to keep him in the top 5. He's going to come out right around P6, it looks like, behind Adam's Porsche.
Now, this is the final lap, folks, and we're going to go a little bit of a ride along here with Dudley. Let's go into his cockpit for a bit and take a quick look of what he is seeing ahead of him. Battle of McLarens as they're heading to the hairpin. keep it on second gear there out of the hairpin. There we go, folks. Better view. Sometimes the entire dashboard shows right ahead of us. Looks like Dudley goes wide a little too much there as they start sector 3. Short shifts up to third. We're heading to the final sector of sector 3 here.
Down through the NGK chicane, hard on the brakes. No errors from either driver here as they come down to the final corner, turn 15. Wagner's going to hold on, easily out accelerate coming off the corner to take yet another win.
So Wagner takes a win. Let's switch back to Poe and Berg, who right here bring it home as well. P3 and P4, great race from both of these drivers. And then Adams, who, by the way, holding on to that P5. He's been pacing very, very quickly. Moved up to P5. Rodriguez, P6. Followed very close by Morrison, P7. And Boomstra under attack from Gino with that P8. Brings it home. Gino P8. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Sweeney's able to bring in the top 10 right at the end. Great drive for your top 10 drivers. Cockcroft, Payan brings it in. Walkowicz bringing in his BMW through the finish line. White Scarver still managing a P14 after a couple of incidents there. Sadat, Andrew, and we have Hacksaw, who was almost collected into an incident there between the drivers behind him, Watts and Ruzick. Gains 2 spots towards the end. Watts holds on from Ruzick. And Boysonock crossing the line as well. Daniels. We have Herrera Maxwell here, P22, so not the best position for him. And we have a couple of drivers coming. Everybody's coming through the end. There we have Master, Cube Master coming through as well. And what looks to be the last few drivers coming through the finish line, we have Harold coming through with his McLaren, bringing it in. We have Potvin bringing in the finish line on his Porsche. And last driver on the track, Mr. Otero, bringing his BMW through. We're going to get you guys some interviews in just a second as the drivers come through the finish line here at Nürburgring. What a race there towards the end between the guys on top. Brings it home there, Otero, and that concludes our Nürburgring event here. Division 4 at SRA, and now I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to our intermission page, and we're going to look for some drivers, bring in some interviews, see if we can bring our race winner, Wagner Dudley, who's had a comeback from last event. So give us just a second here as we get the drivers on our chat. Let's see who is available. We have our race winner available here on the chat. Let's bring him over and talk to him about how that battle with Dudley went there towards the end. So let's bring him over to our booth here. And bear with us just a second here, folks. And here we go. We have our race winner coming in. 1 second, folks. It's being acting a little bit weird there on my end. Here we go. All right, Nick Wagner, do you hear us at the booth?
Yeah, I hear you. What's up?
Well, first off, congratulations on that win, man. You basically, right at the start, send it right through on, right on turn 1. Battled pretty good there throughout the race with Dudley for the win. And talk to us a little bit. How did your race go?
Yeah, I was just trying to be on point with the start there, and Dudley said in chat that he was kind of sleeping there at the start, so it just kind of handed me the lead. But the rest of the race was just trying to keep him behind me. I pulled out of the pits, and I felt like I had a really good pit, but then I got caught behind some people. I got into Sadat, which I'm sorry about, but yeah.
Now,
it was intense, that's for sure.
We were following you there at the start, and we were wondering what happened to Dudley, because he almost dropped like 3 or 4 spots. He was still able to hold on by the end of Sector 1. But we did see there, as far as pits go, yeah, you were basically came out with Sadat as traffic, even though he hasn't yet pitted, so he could defend. And then Dudley started catching up, and then towards the end there, but you're still able to hold off. So not much action going on. I mean, you're basically leading from start to finish, I would say. So, but still, it's your second win. I mean, that's going to take you way up there on the standings. And even though your teammate is not here tonight, I mean, that actually does still help quite a bit for the team's team standings. So congrats on another win. And Adam, did you have anything for Nick?
Yeah, not really. Just good drive and good job managing the traffic. I saw both you and Dudley had a bit of issues running into traffic, getting stuck behind some slower cars that had yet to pit after your respective pits, and I got a little close there. I started to wonder at the end because he definitely picked up the pace toward the end, and but I mean, good job, good defensive driving, holding him off there.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, really, my only option was to kind of slow it up in the corner, in the middle of the turn, because I knew he was way faster than me. So, and then get a good drive off, which ended up working, but it just.
Well, still, in the end, you came through with that basically the P1, so that's what matters in the end. I know you had a few seconds ahead of Dudley there for when they were battling towards the end, and that little tap with Sadat is what basically let him get really close, and we're like, oh, this is gonna go right to the end, and we're still able to keep it together and brought in the win. So, congrats once again, and I'll put you back there at the D3, D4 race chat.
Heck yeah, thank you guys.
Got it, man. Alrighty. Let's see if we find Mr. Dudley. I know he had a great race. We brought him in a few races ago, and it's kind of almost a redemption race for him. Let's see what he's got to talk about tonight. So give us just a second here. Bring in our P2. All right, here we go, folks. And all right, Dudley. Dudley, do you hear us at the booth?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well, man, what a race between you, man. You guys are up there. We're going at it. I know you didn't have the best two last rounds, and you pretty much made up for it this time around. You had a pretty good battle going on. Talk to us a little bit. How did it go for you today?
Yeah, it was. I was surprised because after our practice race last night, I was feeling like I didn't have enough speed at this track. Don't know where that qualifying lap came out of. That was like a half-second PB.
That was nuts. That was, I don't know how you got that. We were following you, and we're like, he just made another 300s on the last chicane. I don't know how that happened, but
it was magical. And then somehow I got caught sleeping on the start a little bit, and I mean, I might have been able to keep Wagner behind me if I had not caught sleeping at the start, but otherwise, I mean, he ran a great race, man. He deserved the win. So
yeah, we were wondering whether there was part of your strategy, maybe just let go and try to catch people back, because you almost lost a total of 4 spots there by basically turn 4, but I think everybody just sort of backed out and you're able to keep that, at least the P2. I mean, for the meantime.
Yeah, I was praying to make that McLaren about as wide as I possibly could through those first few corners, because I don't know. I just missed the start by a little bit. I just wasn't expecting it to happen that early for some reason, and then just didn't get the best run into the first corner. So,
well, it's still, man, P2 still way up there. You still got obviously quite a bit of room catching up for the championship. So I mean, you've been doing great. I mean, like I said, just want to congratulate. Still a heck of a race from you guys. We caught it pretty good there on the stream, especially towards the end. I know Wagner ahead of you had a bit of a bump there with Sadat on the last turn, and that let you and basically everybody behind you to catch up, like Poe and then Berg, and that was kind of entertaining to watch. So appreciate you joining in again, and good to see you back here at the top. And Adam, do you have anything for Dudley?
Yeah, just real quick, walk us through. So after you pit, you ran into a bit of traffic there. How that looked a little difficult to manage there. Was that getting a little bit frustrating, knowing that you should be in clear track, trying to make up ground on Nick, but in the meantime you're stuck behind them?
Yeah, thanks for asking, because that was a moment where like I had just decided it was almost kind of on a whim. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna pit right now, and then I had been practicing my pit stops literally all week, and I probably had the worst stop into the box that I've had in all the time, and like, so my pit stop wasn't the greatest, and then yeah, all I could think about is, man, I would have come out in front of these two cars that I'm behind if I hadn't screwed up that pit stop. But it was kind of exciting there. I'm glad they made some space when I did get up beside them. They didn't try to race me neck and neck through the Schumacher S's. That would have been messy. So I'm glad they just kind of gave in when it was time to. And otherwise, I think they had a great race. So everybody seemed to have a pretty good race for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing with us. And again, good job on an absolutely fantastic finish and a really entertaining battle for us toward the end there.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun. Fun chasing Wagner the whole time. So
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. I'll send you back to the D3, D4 race chat.
all right, thanks, guys.
You got him. Alrighty, let's see if we find our P3. And I was looking for him. Mr. Poe had a pretty good race, but I don't see him available on the time. I do see our battle for P4. I see Berg there. Let's see if we can bring him in and at least talk a little bit of that battle going on between himself and Poe. He does have his mic muted. Let's see if we are able to get him to maybe speak to us here on the booth. At least get a little bit of a battle going on between himself and Poe, who I do not see, unfortunately, on the cooldown.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting Adams in here if they're not available too.
Yeah, I was looking for those guys. Moved up quite a bit. Let's see if Berg is available and see if he's able to talk. If not, we'll bring him over Adams as well. So let's bring in Mr. Andrew Berg. Andrew, do you hear us at the booth by any chance?
Yeah, loud and clear, guys.
Oh, well, we wanted to bring you a little bit of give you a little interview here on the little battle you guys are going on there at the top. Still, congratulations. I think this was probably your best finish, not counting all the issues you had on previous events. You lucked out. Everything worked out okay this time around. Just talk to us a little bit. How did that whole thing kind of played out there in the pits and in the battle between yourself and Poe?
Yeah, you know what? I got to tip my hat off to Poe. I was not expecting that kind of pace from him. He wasn't a guy I had on my radar much this season. I saw a little bit of him at Coda, but for him to have that kind of pace today, I guess it was the mid-engine cars, McLarens, really were the car to have at the track. I think we were top four, and he drove a great race. My race, I mean, I got to be happy. That's the fourth consecutive race, and I don't think I've qualified anywhere below the second row, and I continue to have great qualifying pace. But in the race today, I had the great pace. I was with the leaders for most of the race, came out of the pit and came behind another car. I don't remember who it was, and it did cost me some valuable time, and that's all it took. It's hard to podium in this D4 class, let me tell you. So I'm still chasing it. I know what it takes, but man, it's I was so close. I am disappointed, but I couldn't beat Dudley. I couldn't beat Nick, and Poe was the better driver today. So congrats to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, you were ahead of Poe, but I think it was like maybe a pit scenario where Poe nailed it, and you came out a little bit over as far as pits time. I mean, it was about an 8-second pit versus 5, and I saw him ahead of you, and I was like, that was basically I think it was more like an overcut at that point, because again, you're stuck behind traffic, and everybody was stuck behind traffic at some point. It was kind of crazy to watch, but towards the end, you guys kind of bunched up, basically the top four there, and it was pretty entertaining to watch. I mean, regardless, P4 there, it is your best result. You finally got something through without, maybe an incident. So congrats on that finish. Adam, do you have anything for Mr. Berg?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, you definitely capitalized on the day with Sweeney being I think he was 10th or 11th. It was
P10,
solid day overall for you guys. You beat Selena by 4 spots, I believe. So that's going to get you guys right back up in the running for that lead for the team points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Adam. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I got to be happy with the performance. Chris delivered too, so that's going to put THR Boot hopefully right near the top again. If close that gap, and we do have the end goal, win the team championship, and that would be pretty swell.
But yeah, and how are you feeling going to the next race? Now you got this under your belt. You got one solid run. You know it's possible. No real major issues today. So that's got to be a bit of a confidence booster.
Yeah, Misano, it's a track I definitely need to practice a lot for. I think the McLaren's going to be strong again. They got a lot of downforce, and the McLaren's typically strong on those types of tracks. So I'm going to have to get right back to it if I want the points.
Yeah, unfortunately, Osborne who had some connectivity issues tonight, so he was not able to finish those. So those will be his drop round. So with Selena, you guys basically yourself and then Selena, and then Swinney. So you guys are or basically regain the lead for teams for the meantime. So we'll see what happens in Misano though. But appreciate you tuning in. I won't take too much of your time. I'll send you back to the D3 D4 chat.
Thanks, guys. Great stream.
You got him. Alrighty. And let's bring one more. We talk about Adams, right? Want to bring him over because that was a pretty good race he brought in over for us here. He finished way up there on top.
Living up to the name of that Rapid Raccoons Porsche.
Here, let's bring him over to the cool down. I want to scare him first and see what he says. So give us a second here, Mr. Adams. Here we go. Let's see if he's able to talk to us. Curtis Adams, do you hear us at the booth?
I do.
I don't want to scare you, man. Just wanted to congratulate you. You had a pretty good race today here at Nürburgring. You had some, all around, your pace was pretty good. And I wanted to get your little take a little bit. How did your race go overall today?
It was a good race. I was really happy with qualifying. It's nice to start up near the front of the grid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was nice to keep it clean. I feel like I got lucky that I didn't get involved in any of the little incidents, and I had a good time. I'll tell you what, I'm really sweaty though. That's a sweatier race than normal, and they're rarely dry.
Yeah, after 1 hour of something like this, yeah, I would probably be on the same scenario where I would be heading straight to the shower sort of scenario. So, but I know as far as you're qualified, you're qualified, that was in P7, as far as from what I remember here, looking at it, and you didn't gain 2 spots. There was some pretty quick drivers between you guys there at the top, but you were actually the first Porsche. As far as everybody ahead of you was basically a 720, so you brought the Porsche home, and you brought it ahead of round 3 Donington Park race winner Eduardo Rodriguez. So you had some pretty good pace, man. Your race was pretty good. I know you were battling, I believe, Selena there for a while before you guys pit, and looks like she dropped a few spots, but still brought it home, man. Just wanted to get your take on it. Was your pit okay as far as pit strategy and pit times? Spend time in the pit or no?
Yeah, no, my pit was great actually, which I think worked out well for me, and I was able to pick up a couple of positions. I did really have a good, fun battle with Selena, and I want to say Gino was with us in a little threesome for a while. And it was good, fun racing. It's both really high quality drivers. Anytime that you can be up and competing with Selena, you're happy.
Yeah, we don't know how she does that with a controller. I don't even know, and I want to know how she does that with a controller. Already talked to Jess and said, don't ever give her a wheel because we're all in trouble. But still, Adam, do you have anything for Curtis?
I just want to say congrats on a great day. And I was going to ask if you had any insight on what happened to your teammate today. We didn't see him in the race.
Oh, he's off on a work trip. He, I think he checked in. I'm sure he watched the stream briefly, but he is away from his rig, and those don't travel well.
No, unfortunately they don't. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing him again once he's back on track. But again, outstanding drive from you. We saw definitely you played it perfectly as far as your pit strategy went. I know Selena had a little bit of a slower stop, I think about 9 seconds compared to your 5. So definitely leapfrogged there, timed everything perfectly, and so yeah, podium for the class and the best Porsche, best non-McLaren in the field. Just overall great day for your team, and just congrats.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You got it, man. Hope to see you in Misano next week, and
yes, sir.
Send you back over to the D3 D4 race chat.
All right. Take care, guys.
You too. Alrighty. Well, as far as interviews go, we got a couple of folks here. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I know we're coming close to an end here tonight. Yeah, Adam, do you want to do the honors and go over our sponsors?
I will, real quick. All right.
Give us just a second.
Of course. Yeah, just having someone popping in here checking in on us. But I'll go ahead and read these sponsors out for us. Of course, thank you to all our individual sponsors who support the community, and also most of you race in the community. Thank you so much for that. You guys make this possible every time, and it's just joy for us to be able to commentate on this and watch you guys do what you do every week. And huge thank you to you, of course, and of course our other sponsors, Documise being one of those. Documise is a modern business solution for product management, helping you organize all your products, the development and marketing of those products. Go to documise.com to learn more about that. And of course, support from Retro Saga. Retro Saga is a North American based gaming company that provides awesome accessories for your favorite classic systems, including your Nintendos, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Unfortunately, I don't have as many of those as I would like, but I definitely want to get back into it pretty soon because I really enjoyed all those old systems. But of course, enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. That's .ca, not .com. Don't get that confused. And of course, thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer being one of those. Track Racer allows you to experience redefined gaming with high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use SRA code SRATE at checkout to support the community. And Armamentario is a toolbox for ACC that'll enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. And of course, Go Setups. Go Setups are premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. And of course, that leads me into joining the Discord. If any of you out there watching aren't part of the community yet, even if you don't think you're the fastest driver, go ahead and join the community. It's a great group of people and fun racing for every level of experience. SRA has a great division system that splits you up according to who your pace and puts you around other drivers who are around your skill level. And it's always a good time, as we could see on the broadcast today. We had a great time here at Nürburgring, and we'll be looking forward to Misano, of course. Same time here on the SRA YouTube channel. That'll be, I believe, 9 o'clock. Yes, 9 o'clock Eastern next Tuesday. And of course, don't miss the action tomorrow as well, as the rest of the divisions take to Nürburgring to GP circuit to do battle there. So hey, go ahead and take us home, Raph.
You got it. Thank you so much, Adam, for that read. But yeah, as Adam mentioned, next week, Misano, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. There should be another fun race at Misano. It's one of my favorite tracks. It's a very famous track for MotoGP. But super fun. You have to be really careful on those curbs, as you can take them so easily, but then also get slapped with a track cut. But we'll see what the drivers will do. You saw great battles here tonight. They're at the top 4. A couple of battles in the midfield. We had some fun. But other than that, folks, I will be closing out the stream, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good night, everybody.